Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. Back to me again, Nadratul Ashikin binti Nur Azwan, metric number 264203. This time around, I will present the case study number 5, which is related to tax, where if Pfizer should acquire the Allergan. Assalamualaikum and good day everyone. Back to me again, Nadratul Ashikin binti Nur Azwan, metric number 264203. This time around, I will present the case study number 5, which is related to tax, where if Pfizer should acquire the Allergan. The contents included in this presentation is analysis and the recommendation. We will go further the discussion on these parts in the next slide. Before that, I use the cost-benefit analysis, CBA, since it is the relevant theory or framework to be used in this case. Among the benefits, we have tax saving. In order for us to estimate the tax saving, we need to know the tax rate in the United States and also the tax rate in Ireland. Furthermore, tax saving also can be estimated by computing the future income for that company, meaning if they can generate more income in the future, hence they can get more tax savings. Meanwhile, for the cost, we need to look at the purchase price that Pfizer need to pay in order for them to buy the Allergan, which is amounted to $152 billion. Second thing is the breakup clause of $400 million. We need to include this one because of the uncertainty situation in the United States due to the election regarding new government, what policy. Okay, the breakup clause here means if Pfizer signed the agreement and then suddenly they don't proceed, they need to pay this huge amount. Last but not least, the political factors. This other factor is very risky to the Pfizer company since political issue will influence the policy of the government and indirectly will give impact to the decision whether Pfizer need to proceed with the merger or not. The first thing we need to analyze is to get the idea of Pfizer background. Why Pfizer need the merger? Why they need partner or another company? What's the problem with the current situation or the financial position of the Pfizer? Is Allergan fit with the purpose of Pfizer to plan the merger? So, to answer all of those questions, I studied that Pfizer's revenues had declined over the last 3 years, which is in year 2012 till 2014. The stock price had been relatively flat, and not also that the investors were growing restless. Therefore, Pfizer needed a deal with another company that would improve the company's financial performance and competitive position in its field. Pfizer chose Allergan since it fit the purpose of Pfizer that relate to the tax. Pfizer actually planned the merger with Allergan to create for the tax savings. Tax inversions are transactions used by a company, in our case Pfizer, whereby it becomes a subsidiary of a new parent company like Allergan in another country for the purpose of falling under beneficial tax laws. Typically are used by the United States companies to move to lower tax domiciles. So, since Ireland is a low tax country and the US is the high tax country, the plan when they merge could be like this. All the expenses related to this company will be based in the US so that they can claim more. However, for the income, it will be based in the Ireland because Ireland is a low tax country. Many companies based in US use transfer pricing to minimize their global tax rate. So after transferring intellectual property to low tax jurisdictions in other countries, companies manipulate licensing and also the cost-sharing arrangements to avoid or reduce the United States tax. So cash from global operations is then parked offshore until the tax professionals can figure out how to get it home tax-free. Foreign profits of US multinational enterprise are subject to US tax, but only when repatriated. Repatriation usually refers to the conversion of offshore capital back to the currency of the country in which a corporation is based. When corporations based in the US generate earnings abroad and choose to repatriate their offshore earnings, then corporate tax are charged on repatriated funds. According to the case and the information of revenues of Pfizer and considering a forecast of the following years, the potential tax saving for Pfizer could be calculated. Considering the revenue of each year using a projecting growth factor of 5.7% by 2020, the tax saving is calculated using the rates of the tax of 25% without the merger and 18% with the merger. So as we can see in the table, the more they can generate their income in the future, the more tax saving they can get. It is important that Frank D'Amelio consider the following risks when he is going to make his decision. Firstly, the deal will impact the tax collections in the US. The US Treasury Department could plan to alter the rules related to inversion. The US Treasury could complain about the deals that reduce tax in this way, known as inversions. The controversy could delay the transaction. A bigger danger is that lawmakers pursue broader change in the rules so as to help American companies compete. That means Pfizer risks paying up for a fleeting benefit. The uncertainty of the context may affect tax rate and the possibility of tax inversion. Second is regarding the integration risk after the merger. Both companies are big pharmaceutical companies. The deal involved post-merger integration risk. Regarding the staffing, Allergan has over 40,000 employees, and also the Pfizer has over 78,000 employees. Also, the company will have multiple products and locations. It will be difficult to integrate the departments and affect the gross margin sustainability. The problems with this kind of tax inversions and transfer pricing is the lack of social responsibility. That is a relevant moral consideration that a company have to consider when they are doing business. In an ideal world, companies should act on their ethical and social responsibilities, which include to support the community where they primarily operate. They need to be a good corporate citizen in that regard. This kind of ethical issues could give a bad message that pharma business are spending more energy on reducing their tax liability than the social good they undoubtedly deliver. However, apart that politicians and the public create a negative opinions of inversions, stating that inversions are unethical and leave the rest of the country with a US tax burden, these corporations are in business to make money and compete. As globalization continues to occur, these corporations need to be able to compete internationally. Inversions are a method to help corporations stay competitive, so it is an ethical action in the course of business. After all of those discussions, do you think Pfizer should continue or stop merger with Allergan company? Well, in my opinion, it is a yes. Pfizer should proceed with the merger. It is because the opportunities for Pfizer to stay competitive in the pharmaceutical industry. Besides, the deal with Allergan could help Pfizer to save costs and achieve the revenue synergy. Last but not least, the tax saving will diminish the cost repatriate the $74 billion in overseas cash holding that Pfizer had accumulated. In here, we can conclude that the benefits is higher than the risk and cost. So, that's all for my presentation. Thank you for listening.